Hey guys, today I am bringing you a cute little Dollar Tree metal sign that I collaged and created a decoration with. So I started out with the Tim Holtz plain collage paper. You can buy that in any of your craft stores. And I took some of my Tim Holtz stamps that are from Stampers Anonymous and used my VersaFine black ink to put designs on them. I didn't have any rice paper or tissue paper, so I wanted to just create my own Halloween paper. That's the nice thing about having these stamps. And I cover that good. Make sure that you put a piece of paper behind whatever you're stamping on top of if you're using any sort of tissue or collage paper, because it will bleed through. You'll see when I lift up my collage paper that I just used a piece of printer paper behind it. It kind of catches the extra ink that goes through the lightweight paper you're stamping. But this paper gives a great impression. It does not bleed, and I was putting a lot of ink on my stamp to, get a really solid design. So this stamp set is called Skulls and Cobwebs, and normally any of the stamps that you see, there's Tim Holtz that are from Stampers Anonymous, they are still always available on stampersanonymous.com. Even if other places aren't carrying them, I don't think they discontinue things. I'm sure some really older stamps with the blocks on it are discontinued, but just these stamps that you can put in your platform or on a stamp block, as far as I know, they continue to carry them. This is the Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium. So I use that collage medium because I have it, and because I like to match products together. And normally for the ink, I would have used my Ranger archival ink, but I don't know where I put that, so I used my VersaFine. It worked great, no problems, and it gave a great impression. So if you have that, use it. Just use whatever you have in your stash. So I just use my fingers, I apply the collage medium, and then I have a little scraper. I actually received that as a free gift with a purchase on scrapbook.com. It is a great little scraper. I was really surprised. It's actually not that little. It's a nice size, and it worked great and cleaned up great. So I just kind of pulled this around the edges and folded it, tried to keep it as straight as possible. It was very easy to work with, and I would like to mention that I used some Rust-Oleum white primer on the sign before I started. So I primed it a few days ago, then I worked on it. I would say I worked on it like one afternoon, then another afternoon, just kind of as I could get to it. Goes on so easy, and I was undecided, should I keep the eyes covered or should I cut the eyes out? But after I had all of the paper on there, I decided I wanted the eyes to be black, so I cut that out. But you can place your cobweb or your design any way that you want, and you can layer the paper over itself, and it really doesn't matter. I was just trying to save little extra bits because I knew I needed to stamp more images on this. But you can see it's not great coverage. I didn't want this to be stark white, and I definitely did not want any drip marks. Like sometimes if I go too heavy with my spray paint, it will run, and I didn't want to have to sand and all that. So it went on so easy, and I have never done a metal project. I've done wood, I've done paper, but I've never done metal, and it worked great. So really a lot of fun, and using this, if you already have pre-made paper, oh my gosh, this will go so fast. Like I said, I didn't have any pre-made paper, and it's getting very late to be purchasing things, and if we own all these stamps, why don't we use these stamps, right? Every Halloween I always get all of my Tim Holtz items out and just make them so they're right there at my fingertips, so I don't forget that I have them. He's just the king for Halloween. in my opinion. So it was very easy to just pull these off, and any little extra pieces that weren't covered, I just, exactly like if you were using Mod Podge, just decoupage it on there. So simple. And I believe that if you use this distress collage medium, you can then go in with his distress crayons, and it's like has a seal on top of it, and you can use those crayons and create color anywhere you want and kind of push it around with your fingertips and get all sort of depth and dimension, and if you want to vintage it up. So I just use my X-Acto knife to just pop open the eyes. And I'm being more gentle than this looks. I was being very gentle with this and very careful. These stamps are from the Halloween Halftones set, and that everything I used is Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz on this. So there's the stamp set. I absolutely love this stamp set. This stamp set might be my most used stamp set, and you can do more than just stamp. That's the original Spiderweb stamp that I used. I use that one all the time too, and it has a really cool Baroque skull print next to it. I use that like when I'm doing a little more like spooky elegant. So love these cats. These cats come out every season. And I was trimming you don't have to do that. I was just trimming it because I wanted minimal extra white tissue paper covering those cobwebs. I really wanted the cobwebs to stand out, and I didn't want them to be lightened. And the whiskers on this bled just a smidge, but this stamp you really have to ink up. And the whiskers got a little bit too much ink, but once they're down and collaged, you can't tell. And I figured you wouldn't be able to. Normally on a piece of paper, those whiskers do not bleed. So I don't show applying all of the stamps because I thought it would make the video way too long, and I didn't show stamping all of the stamps, but it just, it goes by fast. If you enjoy stamping, it goes by fast. And if you don't care for stamping, you could do little cutout collage pieces. You could use your ephemera, whatever you have. I'm pretty sure you could probably use napkins. I know a lot of people use napkins when they are doing little creations like this with Mod Podge or any kind of collage items. So this one I left it in because I wanted to show people. I didn't get it laid down right, but even though this tissue paper is tissue paper thin, it still has strength to it. I don't know if regular tissue paper would be as strong because I've never tried it. But this, I could pick it up, move it. If it got a wrinkle, I could pull it back up and put it back down, and then very gently just scrape over it, and it worked great. So you can see her little ear needed to go down, and so simple. And when I went to turn this over the little eye area, I needed to trim it with my scissors to kind of let it give a little bit so it wouldn't pull and wrinkle the design. So easy. That was the hardest thing to do on that. That's how simple this was. I loved it, and I am so glad I was able to find a skull this year. So just kind of figure out where you want to put and place your items, and see how this trick or treat is empty in the center. It's because you have another stamp that you can use a color and give it a color in the center. I mean, you could do black, but you can do light colors, bright colors with a separate stamp. But the way I used it, you can see the spider webs coming through. This is one of my favorite stamp sets that is available. Use the witch, and then the witch has some little birds flying underneath her. I separated them just because I wasn't sure if I was going to use them underneath her or next to her, and I do wind up using them exactly how the stamp is made. But, it was just so easy to just cut and trim and separate everything. So just doing little final touches, getting everything smoothed out. And you do need to remember, it looks like I'm going fast. I've just sped it up. You need to be careful around the edges because this is metal. I would think I think that skull is so funny. I would think that with the wood, you'd need to be careful for like splinters. If I was doing the wood, I might use some sort of sponge or paintbrush to apply whatever glue I was using. So just doing little final touches and using my scraper. And this owl, he's from a different set. The owl and the Happy Halloween, and I think there's something else that I put on there. That set is Carved Halloween. And I really went, like, if you're facing it on the right side, I went heavy like with the black on the right side, because I knew on the top left I was going to put a big black bow, and I wanted all my designs on that kind of the right side so it wouldn't take away from the bow. And as you can see, I just snip so I can fold that tissue paper easily. And it just so easy. Look at that. And my daughter actually pointed out, wow, I like that owl right there. So, I mean, you never know which stamp people are going to be drawn to. I just am so in love with the cats. And those cats, they have a stamp and you can stamp the eyes. Oh my gosh, I just love this stamp set. So any excuse to get it out, I get it out. And I'm not positive. Oh, I think the Boo and the Wicked came from a different stamp set, and the 31 comes from his stamp set that's like merchant numbers. It's all numbers. If you like these stamps, you should check out stampersanonymous.com and just look at the amount of stamps you have to choose from. And he has got some Christmas stamps on his new release this year that are just, they're fantastic. I'm fighting the urge to buy. There's one stamp set that I just love so much. The spider comes from the Carved Halloween. I'm just fighting the urge to pick it up, but it's a losing battle. We all know I'm going to get it because I just love it so much. And some years it's like I want every single thing he puts out, and other years it's more reasonable, like I can't live without one or two. So I like it when years like that roll around. But speaking of things you can't live without, and speaking of Dollar Tree, since this sign is from the Dollar Tree, there's a set of stamps and paper that match the Dollar Tree Ghost and Pink Pumpkin set. And Poochie Tats, I don't know if you guys watch her, she did a live last night, and it's from Close to My Heart, and I've never purchased or heard about this company before, so I'm so glad she showed this. It's the Boo Crew bundle, and it is that exact ghost in a stamp and die set with other good stamps and die set and the paper. So you can get the whole bundle. And then when you go to check out, it'll ask you, do you want deals or do you want to just check out? Click yes, you want to see the deals. It will reduce the price of the things that you choose. And then it's kind of like a more you buy, the better deal you get. So I also picked up Jingle Joy, which has the cutest Santa, and I got the stamp, the die set, and then the paper. So I couldn't believe that Dollar Tree Ghost and Pink Pumpkin was available in a stamp and die set. So if you love that, this is the same thing, the Distress Collage Medium. So you see, originally I used it out of the little container, the little kind of pot of glue, and then this one comes in a fine tip glue bottle. It's very, very handy to have that fine tip glue bottle. And here I didn't want it like squishing out on my stamp block, and I put a little weight on it, and I thought, oh, well, let's keep the glue from it got in my way, and I didn't need it. When I was putting the second one down, I was that paper wasn't glued down around his eye, so it wasn't sticking as well as I wanted. But I felt it after I did this, after I went around and really glued it, I felt it almost suction cup down. So there was no need to weight it. Right there, I was like, wow, this thing is on there. And these are my Umbrella Craft dies. They're just my nested circles. And I believe They are from scrapbook.com. I think I bought those way back when I originally bought my Big Shot. So those have stood the test of time. So he's all covered up. I just used, I think it was Die Cuts with a View glitter paper. Any glitter paper will work, any color, leave it blank, whatever you wanted. There was a lot of white and I just wanted his eyes to be really dark. Or it's a her because I gave her a bow. So here I decide, let me get out my paper piercing tool, and because I'm going to need to put something to hang it with. And just pop it out, no big deal. This tinsel is from Joann. Their Place and Time brand this year that they're selling. And I leave the table a couple of times because I want to make sure I have a hook on my craft room door that I have a sign on. And I thought, I need to get this thing at the right height because I don't want to be messing with it after it's all assembled with the bow on. So I'll leave and I'll come back. But I cut it out and then I come back and then I'll leave again. And I decided, I want to put the bow on first. And this is also that Joann. This is the kind of tinsel mesh ribbon. Oh my gosh, that ribbon was so easy to work with, and that bow is so fluffy and gorgeous. I would like to, I wish that you could send in requests that they would make this in every Halloween color and every Christmas color and every Valentine color. It was so easy to work with and made the most beautiful bow. And I get it kind of fluffed up and then fishtail it down there at the end. And I kind of cut all the pulling it through because I did have to, it was hard to kind of pull through and make the bow with because it's all mesh and so many empty holes. But I mean, it just took a second to figure out where is the ribbon and where is the bow and what needs to go through. So use my wire snips and cut that tinsel trim. And this sign is almost done. And the tinsel, because it has wire in it, feeds through very easily. And then I just twist it like a twist tie. I think I trim a little bit off. The only thing you have to be careful is since it is wire, you just have to make sure you don't, kind of pinch your finger as you're twist tying it down. So got my little bow perfect. And then I thought, need something else. So I grabbed these little AliExpress cobwebs that I have, and you can hang charms and beads off either side. I cut it in half, and I was working with the beads, but it was dark last night when I was doing this in my craft room, and I kept having to do it up close to my face, and I didn't get it on the screen. But I chose a little black bat charm, a little wire wrapped black, I think it was a rondelle bead, and I hot glue the spider web. I mean the spider web because it has that hole in the center. Look how it slides right on there. I just love it when things work out like that. So there's a little skeleton charm that is from a skeleton necklace from Party City eons ago that I was gifted by somebody and I never used it. And I had it in my stash as a charm. So I took that little skeleton off. It has a little bat and a little black bead. And it is all set, ready to go. And I propped it up on my buffet. Oh yeah, I did decide to use some of these little back cabochons that I hauled recently from AliExpress. And I just love these. I just love them so much. I put one near each eye and then one up on the band that he will hang or she will hang from. And she's all done. Once it's glued on and she's all fluffed and she's ready to go. I propped it up next to my little Dollar Tree Halloween tree on my buffet so you guys could see a better view of the finished product, and she's all done. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great Halloween.